пару слов, просто чем мы занимаемся, как мы познакомились с сыном, и дальше передам ему слово. Перспективы существует с 1996 года в Санкт-Петербурге, и мы помогаем детям и взрослым с тяжелой инвалидностью. То есть у нас есть разные программы помощи, и на территории государственных учреждений, такие как детский дом, психоневрологические интернаты, и также помогаем семьям, которые воспитывают детей с тяжелой инвалидностью. И у нас вот с самого основания такая именно международная волонтерская команда, в общем-то, с волонтеров все и стартовала. Изначально это были немецкие волонтеры, которые приехали по программе «Добровольный социальный год в Россию». И со временем мы стали участниками программы Европейская волонтерская служба, сейчас называется Европейский корпус солидарности, может, кто-нибудь слышал. И к нам, в принципе, каждый год приезжали ребята из Германии, Польши, Франции, Австрии, Испании. И вот однажды мы познакомились с сыном, точнее он познакомился с нашими коллегами, и он, скажем так, приехал вне программы, да, сам по себе, и вот про свой опыт он подробнее расскажет. Если у вас потом появятся какие-то вопросы про волонтерство в целом у нас в организации, то, если будет время, в конце расскажу, если нет, просто оставлю наши контакты, да, где можно и как про нас почитать. Вот, у нас, в принципе, есть возможность стать волонтером, как помогая нашим подопечным выходного дня, или можно также решиться на программу годовую, как приезжает иностранный волонтер, у нас есть такая же программа для российских волонтеров. И можно, например, помогать волонтерством про боно, да, какие-то профессиональные навыки, когда есть у волонтера, там, например, перевод устный, письменный, английский, немецкий, всегда это актуально у нас в организации. И когда приезжают иностранные волонтеры, то мы также набираем команду менторов. Это человек, который помогает иностранцу влиться в город, помогает ему с языком. И мы пока что еще в ожидании наших волонтеров иностранных в этом году, надеемся, что все получится, они приедут. И, например, если кому-то интересна вот такая практика, да, языковая, ну и волонтерская части, то можно, например, стать ментором. Это так коротко, вот, а дальше я передам слово Иену, и он уже будет говорить по-английски. Вот, так что, да. Your time.
Hello. Hello. Glad to see so many people turned up. I came from UK to Russia in a strange way. I never thought of Russia, I never thought of volunteering. But I met some friends in my hometown near Liverpool, in UK. They were students from all over Europe, and they came to a pub that I used to go to, and we became friends. And particular two people very close to me lived in Berlin. I worked as an engineer all my life in the UK, and I was kind of bored with it and looking for something new. The contract I had was with hospital equipment. I used to repair ophthalmic equipment, x-ray equipment, things like this. And it's kind of a cold job. The equipment never says thank you, or it just works or it doesn't work. So anyway, I was looking for something new. So my friends invited me to stay with them in Berlin. So I went to Berlin, stayed with them, looking for work in Berlin. Maybe something new would happen here for me. So one weekend, my friends were sick, and I felt better if I stay in a hostel. So I go to a hostel, I'm in my room, playing music, and in walk 5 Russians. They like my music, we become friends. They invite me to St. Petersburg. So 2019, January, freezing cold. I came out of the airport. I couldn't get my gloves out of my case because my hands were frozen. But my friends met me, took me to a hostel. I spent 5-6 days. We had an amazing time, went to the Hermitage, looked at all different places, lots of food. And I met two people who worked for Perspectives. And they said to me, you're looking for something new, something different, why don't you volunteer? So they gave me contact details. I applied, not really knowing what would happen. I went back to the UK. I got a phone call from a representative of Perspectives in the UK. She tried to put me off. Do you know what you're doing? You don't speak Russian. The PNI is a very difficult place. You may have to change pampers, this type of thing. And I wanted this challenge. I wanted to be in Russia. I wanted to see my friends again for more than 30 days. So I applied. I got my visa, a humanitarian visa, 90 days. And I came to Russia. I moved into an apartment with other volunteers from France, Germany, Spain. So I was meeting new people, new friends, friends I still have today from the very first 2019. Okay, my first day at the PNI was a bit of a shock. I had no idea these people were. Here they are. Many of them don't speak at all. They sit, they rock, they have no real life. Perspectives bring some compassion to their life. We walk with them, talk with them if they can talk. Take them to art class. Take them to music, ceramics, handmade. We have two playrooms, a small one and a larger one, where people from wheelchairs can get out of their wheelchair and roll on the floor. It's a difficult place sometimes because some of the conditions are really dramatic. People with limbs the wrong way, people with fingers all fused together, people with big heads. But you soon get used to this because they don't mind. Sometimes, this last picture, Dima, I was feeding him on Friday, on Monday he was dead. Things like this happen, but I know that I gave him my time, I fed him, I looked after him while I was there. And when you walk in the morning and they throw their arms around you, they're so happy to see you, it's a wonderful thing. I go to work in the morning and I'm happy to be there. What else can I say? Volunteering in St. Petersburg has made me many friends from all over the world. I've travelled in Russia. I've enjoyed this amazing cultural city. Museums, art galleries, exhibitions, music, food. I particularly enjoy many places to go. This is a lake near the PNI where we take wards to walk when the weather is good. We clothe them really well, hats. It's insisted by the staff at the PNI. The PNI staff do their best, but they don't have time for anything other than making sure they're fed and in bed at the right time, and medicine. So, but they do things during holidays, like Christmas. They provide entertainment in theatre. They It's a very beautiful walk through the woods to the P&I. Even people who can't really hold the pen properly, it'll take weeks to do one drawing. But he so wants to do it. Another close podopечный who's unfortunately no longer with us loved to dance. He would dance forever. He danced to me till I was tired. This is music class. Always people are queuing to go with a volunteer. You have to pick these two today, tomorrow, you can come tomorrow. It's not always possible to take everyone. At the moment, the last couple of weeks, I've been the only volunteer. So, volunteers are needed, and it's a very rewarding job. You might not think it, but these people never complain about the way they are. And when you have any problem in your life and you think, is this really a problem, when these people never complain and I'm worried about this little thing. So I've had a great time and I want to stay in Russia. It's difficult because the visa situation for me is I have to return to the UK every 90 days, which is expensive. Before we left the European Union, I could go to Helsinki. But, yeah, this was one of the reasons I wanted to get out of the UK. Brexit really upset me. It was unexpected, I think unexpected for a lot of people in the UK. It split the country, it split families, it split friends, made me leave. Julia.
May I ask you, how do you cope to do it without knowing very well Russian? And maybe do you have any funny or not so funny situations?
Not so funny situation? Many. I was feeding someone who can't feed himself. And I was told, this person here steals food, be careful, he steals food. Okay, so I have bread here, and I'm feeding and watching. I was distracted for a moment. He reached, got the bread, forced it into his mouth, and I thought, okay, he's got the bread, never mind. But what I didn't realise was he forced it into his mouth, and he's choking. So the staff run over, they pick him up, they're trying to do the Heimlich manoeuvre. This is my first day. They turn him upside down, they're shaking him upside down. They take him away. I didn't see him until the next day. I was worried all night that he would be dead, but he was fine. And Misha is still well, happy to see me every day. Yes, what else? What did you ask me?
How do you
Cope without
live
language.
without Russian?
Yeah, like you said.
Many don't speak English, speak Russian, don't speak anything, just make noises. But they respond well to music. I sing to them, play the guitar. There was one person in particular, never had a reaction from, never seen him, any other reaction, just rocks backwards and forwards. One day, I had fed him. After lunch, it was traditional to put him to bed, change his pampers, and I went in with the guitar. And I'm walking around the room, playing guitar, singing, and I put the guitar on his chest, and he felt the vibrations in his chest, and he smiled. I've never seen him smile since, or before. But this moment, for me, was very special, because I gave him something he didn't seem to have before. Yes. During the pandemic, it was difficult. We had to this kind of apparatus. We were restricted to one room on the ward, so I picked the room where nobody can speak. I picked the room with these guys. Misha, who choked on the first day. Yura. Pasha. Vova. He's the guy who smiled when I put the guitar on his chest. You see many pictures of this guy, and this is my volunteer friend, Olya. Dima. Misha in bed after lunch. This was my choice to look after these people who didn't need me to speak Russian. Just needed to, to me they're like children. They're not developed very well mentally. So I treat them like children. I play with them, throw things they catch or not, or just, if it's not for me being there, they have nothing. They do nothing. They sit and do nothing. To think that that's the way it is for their whole life, I'm happy to be there. Even if it's for, well, last 3 years, on and off with border closed, border open, back for visa, trying to find money for plane flights. It's difficult for Perspectivy. Normally they would just send me to Helsinki, but since Brexit, the cost for a British volunteer has rocketed. So hopefully I can find a way to stay. I'm 64 and I retire in 2 years, so I'm happy to do this for the next 2 years. And then maybe get some kind of residency if possible.
You don't need to wait.
No. I think it's possible to get a residency when you're 65. The Russian government waiver the fact that you can't speak Russian, but I will continue to try and learn this impossible language. It's so precise. It's difficult to pronounce with English tongue.
What's about the communication with staff?
With staff?
Mm-hmm.
They've kind of got used to me over the years. The schedule is very much the same every week. Monday, teeth first, then maybe walk. Come 11 o'clock, the staff bring food, like a porridge for the ones who can't feed themselves. So we feed them with the porridge. The ones that can feed themselves, they get a pastry like a sosiska or something like this, which they buy themselves from the shop on site. So they do this. The porridge is provided, but the sosiska and the pastries aren't, and they bring them themselves. So they do care for these people. Tuesday is men's banya. Everyone is naked and washed, reclothed. Unfortunately, the clothes stay on for a week until next banya. Tuesday is men's banya, Wednesday women's banya. These 2 days they don't get the porridge. It's too busy. Thursday and Friday they do. If it's nice, they all want to be out of the ward because this is where they live, inside. So to get some sunshine, they love it. There's gardens, there's wood to walk through. There's a shop I go to, I buy them treats, I take them sweets. I'm always asked for, I carry a bag with sweets, and I'm always asked for sweets. Kostya. Lunchtime is most exciting time. It can be very noisy, but it's fun. It feels like the most useful time. To feed someone who needs to be fed feels like you're really doing something that's needed. I mean, to take them for a walk is like extra, but to feed them, I like this the most, I think. If I could feed them all day, it would be good. This is again the lake nearby the P&I. It's a beautiful place.
Can you share your experience in general from the city, from the country?
The city is amazing. I mean, you live here, you know what it's like. I'm from Liverpool down the road, Manchester down the road, Lake District. I've travelled around as an engineer in the UK everywhere. Twice, 3 times. I've been everywhere. It's a small country compared to Russia. I've seen it. It's almost like this life is finished. I found a new life, like reborn here. I love new experience. It keeps you young, keeps you fresh. I feel alive here in Russia. Okay.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions you want to ask me?
A lot.
So do your friends and family support you?
They do, yes, but at first they were, what are you doing? Going to Russia? Are you crazy? The kind of continual negative speak about Russia in the West it's almost like you don't even realize the propaganda is going in. Mm-hmm. It's like you never hear anything positive. It's even when you came with Sputnik, it was like, oh, don't trust Sputnik. It's the Russians, remember. So at first, my family thought I was crazy, but they thought I was crazy for a long time, I think. But I think they now know and see how happy I am here. That they know it's a good place. And I tell them when I go home, Russian people are just like any other people. Just like you, just like me. We all eat, sleep, love. We live just like anybody would do. Governments are governments. I hate my governments. You may hate your government. I don't care about politics. I care about people. And the people I've met are friends for life.
Don't your relatives think of sharing your experience?
Of me sharing it?
Joining you, maybe? Yes.
Oh. They have their lives. I have 3 children. They're kind of grown now. They have jobs, careers, starting families. I just found out yesterday I'm going to be a grandfather. So.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, they have. I would like them to visit. I would like them to visit me in my apartment if I ever get one here. Yeah, I'd love to show them around St. Petersburg, and I'm sure they will come eventually. But right now they're creating their own lives, and I'm creating my new life.
Did you consider going to other projects, the same kind of projects, but in other countries, or you particularly?
I never thought of volunteering. I never thought of Russia until I made friends with Russians in Berlin.
No, I mean after your first experience, after 2019.
After 2019, I just wanted to come back and do this again and again. I thought, this is what I want to do now. I want to stay in Russia. I want to learn Russian. I want to be part of Perspectivy. I will leave on the 17th of September back to the UK for visa. when I return, I think I will go to another part of Perspectivi, a day care centre in Katouzova, where people live with their family and they come during the day, we look after them, give them entertainment, and then they leave. But I'm sure I would like to not to forget these people. Maybe visit them weekends, take them treats, go for a walk. Other volunteers have been the same. They've volunteered, gone away, and when they're back in St. Petersburg, they ask if they can we come back to the PNI, see the people we made friends with, and to see the reaction on the podopечny's faces when they see an old volunteer. And when I first arrived, a volunteer left, and every day, where is Anna? Where is Anna? Where is Anna? Every day, for months, where is Anna? So they form a strong bond with volunteers, like surrogate parent. This is how I kind of feel to them. They're like my children in a way.
They all are orphans, right?
Very few have family, very few.
And the families don't visit them.
When I've seen families visit, they always seem to be leaving in tears. I think it's very difficult for them.
You mean those who are staying?
Yes, because I've seen families with the podopечny, and the podopечny doesn't even recognize them. Doesn't really matter to them that they're there. They don't get this kind of affection. They're kind of new, in a way. Yeah, I've seen families leaving in tears because they haven't had a very good visit. But we kind of have to stay slightly disconnected. Like I say, a couple of my wards have died. It just happens. Certain conditions, especially Down syndrome, their hearts are weak. They don't live a long time. They often look much younger though than they are. I was surprised to find one who's 40 years old. Really? It looks like he's 15. So I don't know why. It's just the condition that they have.
So, it seems to me that many people are afraid of people with disorders. So, what would you recommend to these people how to overcome their fears?
To me, they're people. They're just people with a disorder. They're as valuable as you and me. This is how I feel. If it was your child with this disorder, would you think less of them? No. And I don't think less of anyone here. They are people who need respect, who need care, who need extra care from Perspectivi, extra to give them some kind of life other than the institutional life which they have. So many people are rocking backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards with their heads. It's like they're trying to create some kind of stimulus for themselves. These are the ones that we need to be with, just to sit with. I've gathered them round in the dining room just to sit around me and play one of these hand drums and get them to hit the hand drum. Just these simple things. To us, they're just simple things. To them, this is a new day. This is a new experience. This is some life.
I think the fear comes from people not knowing how to communicate, how to treat those with disabilities, with disorders. Did you get any special training before you started?
Yes, not exactly before I started. I think when I arrived, the training had happened and I missed it, so I got some training later. But yes, I learned how to brush my own teeth properly. I also learned especially how to feed people. This is very important. Many of the staff won't feed I like to call them residents, not подопечными, not wards. They live in this place. They reside there. They're the residents. So staff want to feed the residents quickly, and quite often they're spooning it in. And I'm always the last out of the dining room because I'm waiting for them to swallow 3 times each time I give them food. And many say, can Ian feed me today? And I'm happy to do this, I've told you, I'm very happy to feed them. And I take them treats and drinks and whatever.
Do you know how this kind of institutions work in the UK? What's the system? Is it?
We did have these institutions in the UK a long time ago, but they were all closed, and everyone inside was put into the community, into blocks of. I mean, Perspectives is starting to do this now with taking a few people out, putting them in little apartments together, sending volunteer in to make sure they're okay, looking after them 24 hours. So this is the situation in the UK. We have paid, not volunteers, but paid workers who are care workers. They work 24 hours a day, 3 shifts. So these institutions don't exist anymore in the UK. We have small institutions for people who are dangerous to themselves or others. But even there, they are released with medication and regular visits to the doctor, make sure they continue with their medication. But these are more not neurological diseases like birth defect diseases. These are more like things like schizophrenia and things like this. But I don't think we deal with things like this in PNI. Does anybody think that they may be thinking of becoming a volunteer? I mean, for me, it was like, it just happened. It's like the universe brought this to me. Looking for something new, I find Russians, I come to St. Petersburg, I find Perspectivy. It all seemed to fall into place for me. So maybe the fact that you're here tonight is the first step in this journey towards something new.
May I also ask a question? Because many volunteers, they say they learn something new about themselves during this service. What's about you? What did you learn new about yourself?
That I can get by in Russia without speaking Russian. That I can make friends from all over the world. That I want to leave the UK. Many of the residents who are not on my department are more able to get around themselves, maybe stuck in like a teenage mind rather than a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old's mind. They have pets, cats, dogs. I take them for walks, they care for them. Yeah, what have I learned about myself? That I can still change nappy. That I can dress someone whose limbs are the wrong way. It's difficult to say what I've learned. Every day is like a new experience. You don't know what's going to happen. New volunteers arrive, new friends, new things to talk about.
Do you have to overcome yourself, or is it all natural for you, all these procedures?
I suppose I'm lucky in that it felt very natural to me. Like I say, I've had 3 children, and many of them are like children. So I feel I'm a natural parent, I suppose, yes. So looking after people is second nature to me. And much more rewarding than fixing a piece of equipment.
Well, that equipment could save someone's life, you know.
Yes, and the job I had as an engineer was stressful in a way because the equipment had to be perfect for medical reasons. So it was more stressful. This is kind of a breeze compared to engineering. I would be up early, home late, driving all over the country. Yes. Going to the pub on a Tuesday was the highlights of my week. And to meet this bunch of Europeans who invited me to Germany, where I met the Russians, it all kind of seemed to go from one place to the other, and now I'm here telling you about it.
How much time do you spend in Perspectives?
From the summer in 2019 to now, apart from the times when Bordeaux was closed, probably take almost a year out of this. So in those 3 years, probably 2 years.
But I mean, how much time a day?
Oh,
How do you spend 4 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours?
the day begins at 10 o'clock. Well, 9:30 really. Although the day begins much earlier because you have to catch the metro to the station, train to Pieterhof, then you walk through the forest, you finally arrive at the institution. So 9:30 we're there till 4:30. But because it can be a stressful environment, in this situation you only work 4 days a week. And out of the 5 days you would pick a day for a methodical day. This day you don't go to the PNI, but maybe you write some report, what you did this week, any problems that you encountered, how were the staff, and these reports you submit once a month into Perspectives office. So, yeah, in a week you would work for 4 days. So maybe I would choose Monday and work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If I'm stressed, Monday, Tuesday, take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If I want a long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, then. So you can work it this way. There's no rule on you have to take this day. Occasionally there are meetings where you have to take a special day, but it's not very often. We have meetings regularly in the Institute to make sure everything is okay. Is everybody having any problems? People sometimes need shoes, and Perspectives sometimes can find the money to get someone a pair of shoes. They don't seem to care very much for shoes for people in wheelchairs. So often people in wheelchairs are wearing shoes which are falling apart. I know it's not really needed, but it's kind of it's more compassionate to have them looking like they're not falling apart. So I need shoes for Sergei Budkin. Yes, this week, please, if possible. I promised him forthrightly.
What do you do in your free time then? Besides traveling around?
Traveling around has been excellent. Pskov, Pechuri, Kaliningrad, Krasnodar, Tomruk. Yeah, I've had some great times traveling around. And to the city, exhibitions, art exhibitions. I've been to the Hermitage twice, once with, twice on my own, once with residents that we took to see exhibition. Yes, I've been teaching English to children and adults at the weekend for some extra pocket money, which has been wonderful. I love the children, teaching English to the children. Yes. restaurants, food, music, life, you know, the things we all do, I do here in St. Petersburg.
So what's your favorite food? Сосиска.
I like hachapuri.
Oh.
Then you need to move to Georgia.
Borscht. I like borscht. I never thought I would like borscht, but I like borscht.
What is abbreviation PNI for? PNI, what is PNI?
It's Physical and Neurological Institute. Yes?
Психоневрологический интернат.
Internet. Physical and Neurological Internet.
So borscht and хачапури.
Borscht.
Borscht and хачапури.
Hachapuri. Wine is so cheap here compared to the UK. I like wine.
Because the salary is not that.
No, everyone says this to me when I say how wonderfully cheap everything is in Russia. The reply is always, but we don't get paid as much in Russia.
And quality is not very good.
But yeah, I mean, some things are just 10 times more expensive in the UK. I've just come back from a wedding in Italy. 250 rubles for a small bottle of water. We pay 30 rubles for. I mean, it's a shock. It's ridiculous in Europe sometimes, the cost of things. And I'm sure people aren't making that much more money. So, in my opinion, you still have it good.
Have you been to Moscow? It's more expensive.
I've only flew through Moscow. I arrived and then left. Yes.
Do you want to visit it?
Yes, I've been invited to visit friends in Moscow. I must get round to this, yes. It's on my list of things to do. Many lists of things to do. Siberia, I want to see Siberia. I want to see Lake Baikal. It's such a vast country. I mean, it takes over half the world. You lucky people.
What do you always bring back from the UK? What
Me?
is it you miss here? Yes.
What do I miss from the UK?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what you always bring back with you? Like, you know,
Marmite.
yep. Cheese, for example.
I get asked for cheese. Please bring me cheese. But I think this is not necessary. Last time I brought cheese, it went off in the fridge before it was collected.
Oh.
You still have cheese, but it's the same cheese that we have. Camembert. You have camembert. You have brie. You have the things that I'm asked to bring. I don't miss anything from the UK. Maybe I miss... We have very good TV in the UK. Music shows, but I don't miss music because everywhere I go, I hear English music. English music everywhere, even in Italy, English music. Germany, English music, well, and German music. Techno.
And what do you bring from Russia?
My family always asks me for cigarettes because they are 10 times cheaper here. They're very heavily taxed in the UK, so 200 cigarettes is like a very special gift.
Oh.
Maybe hachapuri?
Hachapuri. Maybe I want to take Serniki to the UK and open Serniki restaurants. Serniki and hachapuri. Yes, and I will make a lot of money. Serniki is delicious breakfast that I've never had until I went to Russia. It's so simple to make and so delicious. Yes.
And what about shawarma? It's like traditional here.
Shawarma also, I should have added this with hachapuri and borscht. Yes, and vodka. And chacha.
Chacha.
Yes, in Tumruk, I was beaten with branches in a sauna and given chacha. But it was a great experience. I'd like to go back and be beaten again.
have any cultural things that you miss here, like pop culture?
Not really. I have an application on my phone so I can listen to any English radio station. And quite often this is what I do in the evening. It keeps me in touch with the news, although I usually put my fingers in my ears when the news comes on, because it always seems to be more negative, Corona, more how bad Russia is. Yes, news is not my favourite pastime, but the music is wonderful. UK music has always been, and still is, I suppose, one of the things we're famous for. And I'm always looking for the next track. One of the reasons I'm here is because I've been DJing for many years to my friends, parties, things like this, and the music I was playing in the hostel in Berlin connected with the Russians who I met. They said, yeah, Nicholas Jar, we know this track, Min Mujer. I was playing this track when they walked in, and they started to dance as they came. So it was like a perfect meeting. Through music, we made friends, and I think music brings a lot of people together.
Then what about Russian music? Did you get a chance to
Yes,
listen to it?
particularly like Monototchka, Skriptonit, Antohar MC, I really like. Luna, the list goes on. There's always a track from everyone that I seem to, yes, I like this one.
But you don't get the text of. But you don't get the text of the songs, right? Just music.
I don't get.
You don't
The
understand the
text.
lyrics.
The lyrics.
No, and I've sang things, and people have said, "What are you singing? Gary Badu? What?" And then they tell me this means burn in hell.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, so sometimes, it's got me in trouble. But I think my middle name has sometimes been in trouble.
What about your middle name?
Yes, middle name trouble.
Oh.
This was what my father would say to me. But yeah, he's
Any questions?
Why did you decide to change for the daycare?
really, it's not my decision. I think Perspectivi need me to go there. It's cheaper for them. They don't have to pay for my travel costs to Peterhof. It's not certain that I go to Kotuzovo. I think everything is still to be decided. We're still looking for funding for me. At the moment, it's not enough for me to stay at the PNI.
And also add that we have a room that volunteer can stay 1 year in one project, just to have different experience and just to open something new in another project.
Yes, and I've met the people who work in Kotuzovo, and I connected with them very well, so I think that I will be happy in Kotuzovo. We recently had a camp for podopечные on the Gulf of Finland. This was a wonderful experience to have them out in the open, on the beach. We would take them into the sea to paddle. Some could swim. It was a great week. Nice weather, good food, lots of borscht, lots of porridge, lots of fruits. Yes, it was a good week. This was a new experience for me, camping in Russia. Yes. Thank you.
you were better off right now. You were
Yes.
better off.
Yeah.
Have you been to the fountains?
I haven't, no.
Oh.
I know it's close. I know it's a special place. But PNI is a special place.
Yeah. It is too.
Yes.
And you said that you were to the Hermitage with
Yes.
podopечные.
Yes.
Was it the Central Hermitage or the general?
No, it was the Central Hermitage. There was a special exhibition, and many of the people who like to go to art, we took them.
Mm-hmm.
I was more excited than they were. I was taking many pictures of. I was this close to classic paintings. It was an amazing experience. I mean, to think that this would never happen for me in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
These kind of things are in London, 250 miles from where I live. It's not inexpensive to go and see, and you're never allowed to be more than, a few feet away. Whereas in Hermitage, obviously you can't touch them, but you could be close enough to them to really experience the artist's work.
Mm-hmm. And people, they were on a wheelchair or they were walking?
Yes, wheelchairs.
Oh, with
yes,
wheelchairs.
they provide lifts and ramps for us to get round. Yes, it was okay. But again, we were taught how to use wheelchairs up and down steps and things like this. So we don't need ramps. We can use steps as long as there's not too many.
Yes, that's a general staircase. It's
Yes,
pretty long.
we use the lift.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Imagine that you have to explain your family or relatives that Russians are the same people.
Yes, the same as.
But I'm pretty sure there is a large community of Russians in the UK.
There is, but I think they're kind of rich Russians in London. They own a piece of London. Oligarchs, they own football teams. I had met a Russian before I came just one, yes. And my daughter's best friend married him. And I've known him for many, many years. But we never even mentioned Russian language. We were always speaking English. He never wanted to go back to Russia. He was happily married and staying in Liverpool with his wife. And they were very supportive of me coming to Russia. Yes.
What's this guy like living in UK for a long time?
He was there as a student and fell in love as a student. Found it very difficult to get permission to be in the UK. It's much harder for you to visit the UK than it is for me to visit Russia. I can get a tourist visa very easily, very cheap. I don't have to have a lot of money in my bank account. But this is the way it is in the UK. One of the reasons I don't want to be there anymore. When you've been somewhere for 60 years, you need a change. And I like this change.
Thank you for your story.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Let's take a shot together. So, why not?
Моя коллега